Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Music Lab podcast. My name is Dogg, and I am here with Taylor Schultz, who is a super agent who has been doing her job for 12 years now.
Yes.
Based out of Monterey, California, the hotbed of agents worldwide and nationwide. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I know this was a last minute thing, so we'll forgive both of us for anything that happens for the next 15, 20 minutes.
Totally fine.
So Taylor, tell me about how you got into this business that we love so much.
For sure. I think I planned to be a pharmacist before I went to college. It seemed like a safe bet. I wouldn't have to work crazy hours. I washed out
Monday
of,
through Friday, get weekends off.
I washed out of pre-med very quickly because I'm not actually a science mind. The best advice I ever got career-wise was figure out what you love, and the money and the opportunities will follow. So I pivoted when I figured out I wasn't going to be a pharmacist like I planned, the safe bet. I just threw myself into studies that would get me towards music. I knew I didn't want to be a performer, but I figured if I could find a place within the business, I could try and make it work. So I ended up taking a job as a receptionist at the company that I work at now and just working my way up. Yeah.
So your parents, brothers, sisters, anyone with any musical inclination? Or
Absolutely. I grew up with my mother playing the cello, and I wanted to play the cello like her, so I grew up playing the cello, but I knew I was never destined to be a performer myself. That's okay.
Was it a stage fright thing? Was it just
I was a ballerina, so I danced on stage as well, so it wasn't a stage fright thing. It was just I didn't have the discipline or the drive to go in that very serious professional path as a musician.
Okay, so how long did you ballerina then?
Pre-kindergarten through 8th grade. And then I went in high school into orchestras for something.
Sweet. So tell me about the artists and the bands that you represent now.
Oh my gosh, so many. Probably 1,500 clients we have, music clients at my agency. It's a lot, so I don't know where to begin. So, tell me a genre you like and I'll tell somebody in it. But
like the Lord Huron will be in that.
Yes,
that genre.
And First Aid Kit, who's opening tonight. Frank has his special taste here that brings certain things to Harrisburg, but we represent symphonic acts, we represent world-class DJs, hip-hop artists, like it runs the gamut. And I get to work at my job with all of our clients, so I really get to play around in all the different genres and levels and advancements of careers. It's wonderful.
So, of the music venues that you've been to, one that sticks out to you, either just from the band playing or from like the venue itself?
Definitely. The one that always sticks out to me is close to home and close to my heart. It's called Henry Miller Library in Big Sur, California, and it's this little tiny platform stage next to this little cabin that serves as the Henry Miller Library, and it's surrounded by redwoods, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And I got to see my favorite show there was Red Hot Chili Peppers. It was like their practice show before they embarked on an arena tour. And one of the members actually lives in Big Sur part of the time, so they have this special relationship with Big Sur and that venue. And I got to stand at this foot of this platform stage and watch them this close. It was amazing.
I don't know if we're gonna top that today. That's a great. And how long ago was that, if you don't mind me asking?
Probably like maybe 7 years ago.
Okay.
One of the perks of the job, so I'm grateful.
So let's get back to the job. So if there is one thing that you would change about the industry itself, what would it be?
I think the thing I'd want to change is to make everybody remember that we're all in this together, and it has to be a symbiotic relationship between all the pieces and players in the puzzle. I think the pandemic was actually really good for helping everybody because we all got knocked down at once, and we all had to help each other build this back so everybody can enjoy it, including the fans, and that we all who love to be living doing this can continue to do that together and separately. So that I think is a good thing to came out of the pandemic.
Let's speak about the pandemic, because like you said, I mean, it affected so many of us, especially in this industry. Was there ever a point where you said to yourself, like, man, I might not have a job anymore, I might need a new career?
Many times, and we're in a very much better place now, but I forced myself to keep that possibility open in my mind. I know none of us are promised anything, but yes, I definitely had those moments where I was going, I devoted my whole professional career and adult life to this. What happens and what am I going to do if I'm forced to do something else? And it's a frustrating realization to think that you work so far and hard and that you might have to just walk away from it all. But like I said, I'm so grateful that we're here doing it. I will do that I will walk away if I have to, but it seems like we're pretty good now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But knock on wood, exactly. So of the shows that you've been to this summer, do you feel like, seeing crowds, like what are you seeing? Like, what are the trends that you're seeing in the concert industry from a fan perspective,
Good question. I mean, on the business side, I'm seeing later ticket sales. So people are waiting until closer to the event to decide that they do in fact want to buy a ticket.
Yep.
I walk through the crowds. I always like being out here with the fans and the ticket holders to see how they're interacting and enjoying things. It's nice that it feels like it used to. Which is a good thing for all of us, that everybody's still getting the same emotional release and enjoyment out of these shows as they used to. As far as trends, the late ticket buying is probably the most prominent one that I would know.
And that's something that obviously you guys have to adjust for, right?
Yes, yeah, it makes
From
it
a
a little
pricing
more
standpoint,
exciting,
right?
closer in. How are we going to get there?
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
And we got here in advance, sold out in advance today,
show.
so I can't complain.
Way to go, Harrisburg, right?
Exactly. Thank you, Harrisburg.
You got to support live music, right? So what would you say then is the biggest obstacle then going forward for the industry?
Right now, it's ticket price sensitivity. We're very conscious of there's a lot of shows out there to go to. You have to make those choices. We realize everybody's bank accounts are not limitless, and we need to make smart decisions that make it as easy as possible for fans to go to the shows they want and hopefully go to multiple shows. But we're really paying attention to ticket price sensitivity right now to make sure that nobody gets carried away. We are in the middle of a recession. We're still in the middle of a global pandemic. We want to be mindful and respectful of that and not lose our core audiences or the fans that might come because the ticket price is priced reasonably so that they can go experiment and find a new band that they like.
And two, band's livelihood is so much on touring now. So
yes,
if they're not selling, right?
Yeah, unless they're Beyonce and they're making money off of Spotify, but nobody else is.
Or Bruce Springsteen.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So talk about the whole Bruce Springsteen, that whole situation from your angle. Give the audience a little bit of perspective on that, because there was a lot of uproar on that, and it's okay, why are we going after Bruce when all of these other artists in his class are doing the same thing?
And the artists, that is an institutional policy that the artists have to opt out of in order not to participate. So that is, Bruce is a shining example of an extreme, but most everybody is engaging in that practice, and it's not necessarily always the artist's choice or preference to be involved in those types of ticketing programs.
Sometimes it's bigger than that,
yes,
right?
these extreme prices that look and are truly ridiculous on paper, but the whole thing behind dynamic ticketing is because people are willing to pay those amounts.
It really comes
The
down to
market
supply
will
and
bear
demand,
it.
right?
Yes, exactly. And it does look a little bit like the seedy underbelly of what we do, and it looks predatory. But most of the pieces are meant well by the fans, and fans support those preferences on where they want to sit, and they will pay for them, and that's why those things exist.
That's a great answer, and I agree strongly with that. It's not. It is. It's, and he hasn't toured in 4 or 5 years.
And there you go back to the supply and demand.
Right.
Yeah.
If he was touring every year, then if you're charging $2,000 or $3,000, that might be a little excess. But,
and if you were selling physical CDs like we used to be able to gain income that way, you would be able to sell your tickets for less and still end up with the same amount of money to support your family at the end of the day, but it's not the case as much.
I think even the Chili Peppers have done that, right? Haven't they released that little tickets? Yes. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate this. Hopefully this wasn't overwhelming
this was wonderful.
Good.
Yeah,
thank you guys so much.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for watching and listening. Again, my name is Dogg. This has been the Music Lab Podcast. Peace and one love.